Hello, welcome to Thoughts of the Week. This video series will kind of be small little project videos, small little videos that I'll be uploading because I want to kind of have a consistent uploading schedule of videos while I'm working on bigger projects that might take me a little bit longer than usual videos. So I'm going to be doing this just kind of in tandem with other videos to kind of keep the channel alive, if you will. So I want to talk about Persona 5 and my thoughts on it because I am working on a review of that game. It's taking me a while because I'm doing speed art stuff. I'm doing art stuff with it and all that kind of shit. So while you guys are waiting for that, I just thought I would give you my general thoughts of that game, mostly as to it being my first real experience with a JRPG, let alone a turn-based game, because usually I don't like turn-based games. I think that they're kind of dumb, because why would you take turns hitting each other? But, over the years I have kind of changed as a gamer. I didn't like fighting games as well when I was younger, because I thought, the combo system was kind of confusing for me until I actually played a fighting game and got into it. So I figured, I should just try a JRPG and see where it goes. And I figured Persona 5 is that game to start it with, and it's actually a really good game to start with. I honestly think Persona 5 is a great JRPG for people who are trying to get into that kind of genre, because, I don't necessarily know, I don't have a frame of reference of other Persona games. I just started Persona 3, and Persona 3, from my experience, is a lot more difficult in comparison with 5. 5, you don't really have to do much. You could just kind of play the game and you could kind of gain experience easily in that game. I think Persona 5, in comparison with 3, from what I played, I think 5 is the easier game. So that's why I think it's a good game for beginners to get into the Persona franchise, let alone JRPGs, because you get to learn about weaknesses and you get to, really dive into the combat system of Persona 5, and that in a way also carries over to other Persona games because they do use a similar system. So that's really what I loved about Persona 5, was that it was just really accessible for me to get into, a scrub like me, to play a JRPG, to get in there and understand the combat system, the weaknesses, the Persona system, the fusing, the confidant system, all that kind of stuff. All of that kind of started to make sense and click to me. And that's really, the story is also really good. The story, I think, is obviously the Persona game's strong suits. Like, when you play Persona, you're mostly playing it for the story. The gameplay is also there as well. And I think Persona 5 has a good balance of that. The story is unique and interesting. The characters are memorable. That's something that I think a lot of games are lacking. When I played Final Fantasy 15, there's only 2 NPCs that I could kind of I remember, Sid and Cindy, and that's it. Every other NPC I bump into that game, I just forget about it. I forgot the name of the character that's the Dragon Lady or whatever. I don't remember the main bad guy's name. I know he starts with an A, but it's just such a weak game in comparison. While in Persona 5, I almost can, I remember Kiwakawa. I can't pronounce the names because they're very Japanese. The Principal Kobayakawa, Makoto, Yusuke, Haru, Igor, the 2 wardens. I mean, there's stuff I remember. It's just, I'm not really thinking of the names right now off the top of my head, but I can actually, sit there and when I'm playing the game, I actually give a shit about the characters. I like Takemi. Takemi's a really good character. I like her character a lot. Her story is good. Tora, No Good Tora, is another good confidant story I followed. I had a good payoff at the end where he kind of gets his shit together. I like that. I like how each confidant has a unique story, and it makes you kind of want to pursue those bonds more. Yeah, there is perks with the gameplay if you pursue a confidant link, but at the same time, you want to also know more about the story and know about the characters. So it has a multi-purpose to them, and each part of it is rewarding, and that's really what I like about Persona 5, and that's really what got me to really continuously play it. I'll talk more about the ins and outs of the gameplay and the stuff that really click with me in the game. But this is the kind of stuff I really wish were in games. You know, like the save system in Persona 5, I think, is a really it's the best system. It really it's a good punish reward kind of system where you know you could go into a dungeon or a palace as far as you go, and you know you can either go to a safe room and be like, okay, we can stop here, go out in the real world, regain our HP and SP if you don't really want to use any items, and then go back and go as far as we can. But you know you have the time limit as well. But like it's very strategic, and that's what I like about the games, where you could either play it safe and leave every time you're low on SP, or you could go as far as you can and risk the reward of getting further into the palace and getting closer to the end. So you have more days to kind of build with your confidants and all that stuff, which is nice. It's a nice kind of system where you could really decide, do I want to spend the time fostering you know, these confidant links, or should I take the time into you know, getting further into this palace? Or you know, it depends on where you go, and where you spend the focus is really how the game will adapt to you. Because if you are just going in not really thinking about any of this stuff in the back of your mind, you're probably going to get fucked. When I played the game the first time around, I did not even max out any confidants until like near the end of the game, which, you know, honestly, when I look back on that now, that was terrible of me. Now, when I'm playing on New Game Plus, I'm actually taking the time to build confidants. I'm actually thinking, okay, well, I should go a little further in the palace, but maybe, you know, after this, if I make it this far, I should go out and actually, you know, bond a little bit more, you know, raise the confidant links a little bit more to get more experience, or to get an item out of it, or something. You know, now I'm more conscious of that stuff. Well, in the first playthrough, I was just kind of going through it without thinking about how it would affect the gameplay. So that's really what I like. That's what I like about that Persona 5, and it has this kind of reward system that I could see in old games like Resident Evil 1, the remakes, Resident Evil 0, 2, 3, to even to an extent with 4 and 5. But like this is something that has gone missing in games, where you do get a sense of reward and punishment for your decisions. In Persona 5, like, you can decide to go further into a palace, but you can also get one hit killed by enemies if you go further, if you're not careful, if you're not thinking about the potential risks. You could lose experience that you've gained from the last save room. You could lose a lot of things, but at the same time, though, if you manage to hold out, you can gain so much out of it. So I like games that give you this kind of options of, you can either continue and get a lot of payoff for it, or you could continue and get punished for it. And it's kind of bullshit sometimes. You know, there have been moments in the game where I made it so far in the palace and then I die by some bullshit, and it does piss me off, but at the same time, it never got to me to be like, well, that's it for this game, then I decided to sell it. I kept trying to get better. I tried to understand, well, I know this enemy is gonna do some like heavy attack power, so maybe I should build up on defense. Get some healing characters in there that have good healing personas, maybe. You know, I try to look at what would cause the death and say like, okay, well, maybe I can, you know, get the upper hand by doing something different, and you get to experiment more with Persona 5, and that's what I think is missing in a lot of video games. There's not a lot of experimenting and experimentation being performed in games these days, and Persona 5 kind of harps back on that. It does soften the difficulty that you would expect from a lot of modern games, but at the same time, though, Persona 5 by no means is like a cakewalk either. I think it might be easier for longtime fans of the Persona franchise, but if you're just getting into it, or if you are just kind of new to the series, I think Persona 5 offers a fair amount of challenge, and it's a perfect mix of challenge and reward. For me, I played on normal, and that was challenging for me, but it was also pretty easy. I didn't feel like I was at a particular moment in the game where I could not beat it. The only time I felt that way was with the Madarame boss fight. That boss fight to me is a load of bullshit. I don't understand why that boss fight was giving me so much shit, while other boss fights later on in that game didn't give me as much of a problem. I don't know why. It was I might be the only one who had that problem. I don't know. But Other than that, I think it's a very fair game if you're just starting, and that's what I love about Persona 5. It has a lot of stuff that kind of makes you want to go back. The story is really good, uh, as well. I will get into that as well into the review whenever I finish it. So, thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.